If Harry asked you to sing at his wedding, would you?
If I was available, I would. Taylor Swift invited me to her wedding, and I couldn't go because I was already committed to Harry's shows.
Oh my God.
So that's why I say that, because it's just kind of funny that happened that way.
Because that's
I know
what a Rex is.
I was already committed.
You're
and
like,
I couldn't
sorry,
go.
Taylor, I'm going to choose
No,
Harry.
but I mean, and I would have done anything to be
totally
at Taylor's
teasing
wedding. I
you.
would have done anything, and that would have been really lovely for me to be there. But I was with Harry, and so that's why I'm saying if Harry ever gets married and he wants me at his wedding, then
So Harry's going to have to plan his wedding around your schedule.
he's going to have to ask me more in advance.
The biggest pop culture news of the year broke while we were in this cabinet meeting. Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift are engaged, and the world wants your reaction, sir.
Well, I wish him a lot of luck.
Oh.
No, I think it's. I think he's a great player. I think he's a great guy, and I think that she's a terrific person. So I wish them a lot of luck.
On July 4th, 2026, Lil Reese was shot in Chicago. Not for the first time. Not even close to the first time. And the fact that we are here again, with the same name, the same city, the same absence of answers, is the part of this story that deserves the most attention. Here is what we know about what happened. Reese was shot in the South Side area on the 4th of July. Details remained limited in the immediate aftermath. The exact location, the number of shots fired, how many people were present, and the full circumstances of what led to the incident were not publicly confirmed. What was confirmed was that he was transported to a hospital and that he survived. His condition was reported as serious but stable. He is alive. No arrests have been made. No confirmed suspects have been publicly named. The investigation is ongoing. For anyone who has been following Reese's story, the pattern here is brutal in its familiarity. Lil Reese, born Tavares Lamont Taylor, grew up in Chicago's Altgeld Gardens public housing development before his family moved to the Parkway Gardens complex on the south side, the area universally known as O Block. He came up alongside Lil Durk, and together, they were among the first wave of artists who took the sound and the stories of Chicago's most dangerous streets and turned them into a movement that would eventually reshape hip-hop nationally. His career started gaining traction around 2012 when he appeared on Chief Keef's I Don't Like remix, a track that landed nationally and put multiple O Block names in front of audiences who had never heard of them. He dropped 300 shortly after, a track that became a street anthem and cemented his position in the first generation of Chicago drill. The music was raw, the energy was real, and the circumstances that produced it were not fabricated for shock value. They were documentation. His shooting history reflects those circumstances. The first high-profile incident came in 2013, when he was shot in the neck and hospitalized. He survived. Then, in 2019, he was shot multiple times in the chest while sitting in a vehicle. He survived that too. Each incident generated the same cycle: news coverage, concern from fans, no arrests, no public resolution. He kept making music, he kept moving, and the situations that produced those incidents kept existing around him. To understand why Reese's story keeps intersecting with violence, you have to understand what O Block actually was and what it meant. O Block is the nickname for a section of the Parkway Gardens housing development at 64th and King Drive on Chicago's South Side. During the 2010s, it became one of the most violent blocks in a city that was generating national attention for its gun violence numbers. It also became the birthplace of Chicago's drill sound, the slow, menacing beats and unflinching lyrics that emerged from artists who were living inside the tension they were describing. O Block produced Lil Durk, Lil Reese, King Von, and a generation of artists whose music was simultaneously a creative achievement and a dispatch from a specific zip code at a specific moment in American urban history. The people who grew up there were not performing a genre. They were documenting a reality that most of America only encountered through screens. And the cost of that documentation has been paid in real terms by real people. People who were shot, people who were killed, people who are now navigating federal indictments, and people who have watched their friends and contemporaries disappear in ways that never generate clean resolutions. That brings us to Lil Durk's situation, because it is impossible to discuss Reese in 2026 without addressing what is happening to the most prominent figure from that same circle. Durk is currently in federal custody facing a RICO indictment that has expanded multiple times since his October 2024 arrest. The charges now include 3 murder-related counts, allegations that only the family operates as a criminal enterprise, and accusations involving organized violence going back years. His trial is set for August 2026. He has been in solitary confinement, facing the most serious legal exposure of his career. Reese and Dirk came up together. They built together. They have been referenced alongside each other for over a decade as two of O Block's most prominent survivors who made it into music. Now one of them is in a federal holding facility, facing charges that could result in a life sentence, and the other just got shot on the 4th of July. That is what the original circle looks like in 2026. When news of Reese's shooting spread online, 600 Breezy, another Chicago artist who has had his own proximity to the violence that has defined this generation, spoke publicly about it. His message was not complicated. He said people need to stop killing each other. He said the cycle keeps going and nothing ever changes. He put it plainly enough that his words landed differently than the usual social media statements about gun violence, not as a press release, but as someone who has watched this happen over and over and is exhausted by it. That exhaustion is the undertone running through everything the Chicago drill scene is dealing with right now. Think about what this generation produced. It gave hip-hop one of its most influential regional sounds of the last 15 years. Drill music out of Chicago shaped the aesthetics, vocabulary, and production style of artists from Atlanta to London. The artists who came out of those blocks, Chance the Rapper, Chance's artistic contemporaries, Keef, Dirk, Vaughn, Reese, G Herbo, represent a genuine creative explosion that emerged from some of the most difficult circumstances in any American city. And the body count attached to that generation is staggering. King Von is gone. Killed in November 2020 in Atlanta outside a lounge. FBG Duck is gone. Shot on Oak Street in August 2020. Capo is gone. Lil Joe Stackhouse is gone. The list extends further than it should for a generation that is still in its late 20s and early 30s. The survivors are navigating either federal legal exposure or the continued threat of physical violence or both. Reese is 30 years old. He has been shot multiple times. He is still here, which in the context of everything that has happened to the people around him, is a fact worth acknowledging directly. But being alive and being free from the circumstances that keep producing these situations are two different things. Surviving a shooting does not end the conditions that made the shooting possible. It does not change the geography, the history, the unresolved conflicts, or the structural realities that made O Block what it was and what it continues to be. The question that does not get asked enough after incidents like this is not who did it or why there are no arrests. Those are important questions without clean answers. The deeper question is what happens to the people who grew up in these environments and built careers out of the documentation of those environments when they reach their 30s. Some of them pivoted, some of them moved physically, some of them built enough distance through money and geography to alter their risk profile. Some of them did not get the chance. And some of them, like Reese, appear to still be living close enough to the original circumstances that July 4th in Chicago ends the same way it has ended before. The drill sound that emerged from O Block 15 years ago is now a global genre. The aesthetics and production styles have been absorbed into mainstream pop, UK rap, Atlanta trap, and every derivative in between. The people who created it are still living inside the consequences of the world that produced it, and those consequences do not disappear because the music became internationally celebrated. Reese is in a hospital in Chicago as of this video. No arrests, no suspects, no resolution. The investigation is open. His people are asking for privacy and for prayers. That is where this story is right now. And until something structural changes about how these situations are investigated, how the communities that produce this music are resourced, and how the artists who came out of those blocks are supported, this is probably not where this story ends. How many times does this have to happen before the conversation moves past thoughts and prayers and into something that actually addresses what is producing these incidents? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe if you want to stay on top of stories like this one told with the context they actually deserve.